And not only did Dad take me to that concert, but he came in and sat there amongst 14, 15, 16-year-olds screaming at Rod with their tartan scarves. And then we drove home till 2 o'clock in the morning down in the fog. Mum was waiting for us, wondering what had ever happened to us. And that's a memory now. My first ever concert, Rod Stewart and the Faces, my first ever group. And that's a memory that will never ever leave me. So music's important to me, and Dad's introduced me to that. And then my first 2 Crystal Palace games, and those of you that know me know that Palace is important to me. Again, Dad, 1969 against Liverpool, 1971 against Leeds. Yeah, which Dad still remembers. Crystal Palace were completely outplayed. How it ever stayed at 1-0, we don't know. And in the very last minute, the Leeds goalkeeper literally picked the ball up and just threw it over his head because Dad told him to. And that was the end of the game. And it was 1-1. And then I guess the last thing I need to just say to Dad is that, you know, Mum passed when I was very young, of course when Drew was very young as well. And I kind of took it for granted that every time I come home, there was a chicken curry on the stove. There was a dinner in the microwave. There was a dinner waiting. But Dad had been out working all day, and then every night there was always something there. So, you know, I've got some great. I mean, I could have stood here today and told jokes, and it would have been more entertaining if I'm being honest.
Well, tell a few jokes then, Steve.
No. But actually, all I wanted to do was Dad's 90th birthday was just to reflect on the memories I've got of Dad, and just to say thank you very much, Dad, for everything you've done. So thank you very much. Thank you. Drew, down to you.
I bought my friend an elephant for his room. He said, thanks. I said, don't mention it. better repeat it. Right, last night, me and my girlfriend, that's not the joke by the way, last night me and my girlfriend watched 3 DVDs back to back. Luckily, I was facing the TV. I went on a once in a lifetime holiday, never again. I told my girlfriend, again it's not a joke, I told my girlfriend she drew her eyebrows too high. She seemed surprised. This bloke said to me, I'm going to attack you with the neck of my guitar. I said, is that a threat? I needed a password, 8 characters long. So I picked Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. I bought the world's worst thesaurus yesterday. Not only was it terrible, it was terrible. Think about it. Right, anyway, that's enough about that. So, yeah, so phase 2 of Dad's life, as we go into it, you know, this guy here, you know, he's just been so many things to so many different people.
Is he talking to me or Dad?
Not you, no, this guy,
sorry.
this guy, not this guy, this guy.
Okay.
You know, come along me, and we're looking now at sort of like the early to mid 70s. We started off, we used to go down to Cudham, didn't we, Dad, where you grew up, and that's where Dad's grew up, and so we went along to have a look at it. We used to go fishing, but we soon realised that, you know, fishing wasn't quite the thing. It was more about picking berries so that we could make wine. That was more the thing, and that was what inspired me. So we could go out, we used to go to Cudham, we used to make elderberry wine, and, you know, that was great. One of the stories Steve didn't tell was when he used to host the bar at the Christmas parties that we had and the New Year's parties that we had. A lot of them were kind of inspired by Dad's homebrew and drinks and that, which was great. Yeah, so we started off fishing, but because I was a useless fisher, I think Dad realised, right, okay, we'll make wine. We used to make yogurts, and we used to make jam, and all this stuff was like basically home produced, done in the kitchen, and then you'd put it in the airing cupboards, you know, and yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Other memories again, I think Dad took me as well to my first concert, not quite as cool as Steve's. Mine was 10cc. Still a good
still
band.
good.
Still a good band.
Still
yeah.
good.
So this was round about the era where they did. None of you will remember it, but songs like Silly Love Songs and I'm Not in Love and things like that. Yeah. But again, Dad, was totally up for it. So I said, yeah. And I think you enjoyed it, Dad, didn't you? I think.
Well, he said it did.
Yeah. And then obviously, I did stick at the greengrocer, Steve, because I didn't mind the smell of freshly beetroot smelt in the morning.
Didn't work. Didn't work.
And just getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, going to Borough Market, which is now really trendy, but at the time was a working market. Going on from that, I mean, Dad obviously then got the hotel, and I was living in London at the time, moved to the hotel. Dad, as always, by this time, as Steve had mentioned, unfortunately Mum had died, but Dad had found Sandra, which is brilliant. They both welcomed me to the hotel. So went and worked at the hotel, and that started my life on the Isle of Wight. You two stop laughing, which is why, and that was a whole new adventure, which, this side of the table. No, not regret.
Oh, thank you.
No. But all this is Dad. This is what I'm saying. All this is Dad. Blueberry Hill that we used to sing, yeah. And what was the other one? My Blue Heaven, wasn't it? There's a little green room, My Blue Heaven, which we used to sing as well. I don't know what they can do for us here tonight, but the night is still young. Just to say that, 90 years, absolutely brilliant, and I know Ben's going to say a few words in a moment, but you've always given everything you can for all of your sons. You haven't got any daughters, have you? No. Right, good. So you've always given everything you can for all of your sons. Just checking.
That's we got the wrong look.
So, yeah. Freddie Dibley.
Well, I'd like to pick up where Drew's left off. My memories of Dad would be in the 90s on the island in the hotel, getting up to all sorts of mischief. I can remember my first taste of alcohol was thanks to Dad and behind the bar, and me helping myself. And I always remember at the grand old age of about 11, pouring myself a large brandy and having a Hamlet on the roof, taking stock of my life. But Dad was always busy with the hotel, but he always had time to do things with me. I remember taking fishing on the beach we used to do, and I remember when Dad got a new car, I was asking him, making him on to see how fast it would go, and to which a week later got 3 points for that one. That was even after we tried to nip up a country lane and get away from the couple. And following on from that, after I joined the Navy, and Dad then come up here to help me get me settled up here with the house and everything, and help me with all the DIY and building the house and a home up here, and all the arguments that we used to have. And I think it's a great testament to Dad's character that we could have blinding arguments about how we should tile this and how we should cut that, and it got to a point where I almost looked forward to the arguments, because we could argue with each other and still do it in a friendly way and always be friends at the end of it. And that's what I just wanted to say really. I said he was busy on the island, but he's always made time for me, always made time for the grandkids. And I just want to say thanks very much for being there, and it's been a pleasure, and happy birthday, Pops.
I was going to say one or two. It's going to be short, but I think everybody's said everything now. There was nothing left for me to say, really, is there?
Well, there's a few bits.
I think they've laid it on a bit thick at times. When I say I'm talking about the charm side of it, because there were times when we had little arguments and you wouldn't go get the potatoes.
I know. I still feel good about that.
And I'm sorry you didn't get the shop as well.
That's why he's apologising. That'll do me.
And there's not much else I can say, except, you know, that I'm very pleased to see you all here. I'm sorry that Emma couldn't make it, but, you know, you're all my, you know, from the life I've lived, and this is what's come of it with you lot here. And I think it's wonderful. And that's really all I've got to say. Thank you very much indeed.
So we have one final thing to do, because for Dad, of course, for Dad and for Sandra, everyone here today, Dad, has contributed a small amount of money. And we have
Tell us the emphasis on small.
Jack Ann's here, or Jack's going to come round and present you with your 90th birthday present, Dad. Thanks, Jack.
Must I open it now?
I'll open it now,
Oh,
Dad.
yeah, you can
Present
open this
up.
one now. You didn't want a present, so we didn't get you a present.
You're in on this one.
You committed. I feel wrong to stop now. You committed now, mate. You're gonna have to just do it. Just edit the sound out, and then when we do the applause.
Oh, that's wonderful.
That's lovely. Thank you.
And that's from everybody here today, Dad.
That's lovely.
Thank you. That's lovely.